Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namastutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nasta Prayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, uh, chapter 10 and verse 44. So let me read the verse. Itham bhavena katitho bhagavan bhagavatama netam bhavena hi param dishtam arhanti suraha. Itham bhavena katitho bhagavan bhagavatamaha netam bhavena hi param dishtam arhanti suraha. Itham bhavena katitho bhagavan bhagavatamaha netam bhavena hi param dishtam arhanti suraha. I'll read the translation and the purport. Itham, in this features, bhavena, the matter of creation and destruction, katitaha, described, Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead, Bhagavat Tamaha, by the great transcendentalist, na, not, itham, in this, bhavena, features, he, only, param, most glorious, wisdom, to see, arhanti, deserve, surayaha, great devotees. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The great transcendentalist thus described the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the pure devotees deserve to see more glorious things in transcendence beyond these features. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Lord is not only the creator and destroyer of the material manifestation of his different energies, he is more than a simple creator and destroyer. For there is his feature of Ananda, or his pleasure feature. This pleasure feature of the Lord is understood by the pure devotees only, and not by others. The impersonalist is satisfied simply by understanding the all-pervasive influence of the Lord. This is the called Brahman realization. Greater than the impersonalist is the mystic who sees the Lord situated in his heart as Paramatma, the partial representation of the Lord. But there are pure devotees who take part in the direct pleasure, Ananda potency of the Lord by factual reciprocation of loving service. The Lord in his abode called the Vaikuntha planet, which are eternal manifestation, always remains with his associates and enjoys transcendental loving service rendered by his pure devotees in different transcendental humors. During the manifestation of creation, the pure devotees of the Lord practice that devotional service to the Lord and thus take full advantage of the manifestation by qualifying themselves to enter into the kingdom of God. The Bhagavad Gita 18.55 confirms this. Bhaktya mam abhijananti yavanyaschami tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishatet anantaram. By development of pure devotional service, one can factually know the Lord as he is and thus be trained in the bona fide service of the Lord and be allowed to enter into the direct association of the Lord in so many capacities. The highest glorious association with the Lord is made possible in the planet of Goloka Vrindavana, where Lord Krishna enjoys himself with the gopis and his favorite animals, the Surabhi cows. A description of this transcendental land of Krishna is given in the Brahma Samhita, which is considered by the Lord Sri Chaitanya to be the most authentic literature in this connection. Hare Krishna. So I'm very happy for giving this opportunity to discuss on this very wonderful topic. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Anmilitam Ena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Subhadantikam. Vandeham Shri Gurum Shrilta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahaganita Shri Vishaka Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastasharini Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Kutuse Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudevi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhisya Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayati Giri Yat Kripahtam Mahamande Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna, it's my a great pleasure to have such a wonderful class today, and I'm very happy. I'm not sure how qualified I am, but I'm very grateful to the devotees for giving me this opportunity to talk about this wonderful topic. And it says Nityam Bhagavata Seya. So it is my great great fortune that today we're speaking about Bhagavatam, the answering questions of sages. So here, I would just like to read the purport and the translation, and then we'll go with the discussion. It says, Itham bhavena kaditho Bhagavan Bhagavatamaha Netham bhavena param Dishtam arhanti suraha. So here it says, the Prabhupada gives the translation, the great transcendentalists thus describe the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the pure devotee deserves to see more glorious things, the transcendence beyond his reaches. So in this chapter, so far, it's been describing the Lord as a supreme creator, the supreme maintainer, and the supreme. If you just look at the last verse, it's been described how he is the destroyer. How does the Lord destroys? It destroys in the form of a Rudra. Generally, we give an acronym for God, G-O-D, God. G for generator, O for operator, and D for destroyer, right? So in the last verse, we spoke about more about Rudra, destruction. So I want to make one thing very, very clear so that we can dive into today's class. I would like to give an example for this. Like for example, let's say if you want to build a house, what we should do. We want to build a house. So to build a house, we want to get a contractor, right? Who will come and help us to build the house. And after the house is completed, what happens? Does the contractor live in the house? No. Who will live the house? Who will live in the house? The owner lives in that house, right? So similarly, who maintains the house? The owner who maintains the house, correct? So what I mean to say is, let's say if the house becomes very old, so generally what happens, he may call the a person to demolish the house, right? It doesn't mean that he will demolish the house. He will call somebody else to demolish the house. So does the owner is doing the demolishing? Not the owner. The owner is asking the person who is in that department, demolishing department. So we can see creator, maintainer, and destroyer. So he calls the demolishing department and they come and they demolish the house. From this, we can understand who is actually the real proprietor. So we can see that he is the creator, the real proprietor. No. He is the contractor, the real proprietor. No. Although we know that, the owner is actually getting the demolisher, the owner is getting the contractor to construct, demolish. But actually, which is more important? The more important is the maintainer, right? Because he builds in the order, according to the order, the owner of the house. So we can see one thing is very clear, that it is very easy to build a house. It's very easy to destroy the house, but it's very difficult to maintain the house. And Lord Krishna, if you see Brahma Samhita, it says Ishvara Krishna Paramananda, like Ishvara Krishna. You see in Brahma Samhita also it is mentioned that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. He is the cause of all causes, right? So we can see here, if somebody wants to repair the house, is my voice audible? Hare Krishna, is my voice audible? Am I too fast?
No, no, Prabhuji, we can hear you. You're audible.
Okay, so I was telling you from Brahma Samhita, Ishvara, Parama, Krishna, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna is the cause of all causes, Vishnu. So one thing I like to share, that if there are some repairs to be done in the house, it can be done, but who pays the bill? Does the contractor or does the destroyer? It is the owner who maintains the house, who stays in the house, right? So in this, we can make a very clear understanding that Lord Brahma is a creation aspect, whereas Vishnu is doing the maintenance aspect, and where Lord Shiva is doing the destruction aspect. So God, God, G for God, G for generator, O for operator, and D for destruction. So Brahma is playing role of a creation, and Vishnu is playing role of a maintenance, and Lord Shiva is playing role of a destruction. Now tell me, who is the owner of this material nature? Is it Vishnu? Is it Brahma? Is it Shiva? Of course, the one who maintains, the one who stays in the house, he is the real owner. And we can see that it is Krishna. One thing I like to share, about this concept. See, the maintenance, the creation, the destruction, this is all done by the law of expansion in the form of a guna avatar, right? The creation takes place in the modes, like in which mode the creation takes place, the mode of passion. Any creation actually does a lot of passion. If we don't have the trigger to passion, how we can do it? We need a lot of energy for that. So we can see that Brahmaji plays the role of this mode of passion. So we can see not only passion, we can also see in the mode of goodness, which is Vishnu. A mode of ignorance, it is Lord Shiva. So now, one thing is very clear in this verse, that this verse, Prabhupada is explaining us that the creation, the destruction, the maintenance, these are all done by the law of expansion in the form of a guna avatar, right? And then we have three modes: mode of passion, mode of goodness, and mode of ignorance. So when it comes to mode of passion, we have Brahmaji. When it comes to mode of goodness, it is Vishnu. When it comes to mode of ignorance, it's Lord Shiva, right? So also we can also understand from this topic that how, if somebody wants to build a house, he brings a contractor, and he builds the house, but he doesn't stay in the house, right? So the creation part Brahmaji does. And if he wants to demolish the house, he'll call the demolisher, to demolish the house. But he doesn't stay in the house. Who stays? The owner, which is maintenance. So even the person who's demolishing the house, who pays the money? It is the owner. So in this way, we can have a clear idea that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. I like to share one pastime when Prabhupada was giving a talk, to many of his disciples. He had a lot of wonderful, what do you say? Not donors, but I would say well wishers. I would say, and he asked them, "Do you know who's supreme personality of God? Who's Krishna?" They were not able to answer. There was a small child moving around, Saraswati. So he asked, "Do you know who's Krishna?" And she told, "Krishna is the supreme personality of God." And immediately Prabhupada was so happy. he called her and he gave a piece of a cake. Right? So it is very important to know that Krishna is the supreme personality of God. Because generally when we say God, people have different ideas. So somebody thinks, because in India there's a clear understanding that we have 33 gods. So which God do we believe? All right. So generally, just a couple of days I was giving a class. I was sharing that if a person says, why there are so many gods? Why not just one God? Right. So I was just telling them that I asked him, do you have a pet, a dog? He said, yeah, I have a dog. So let's say tomorrow you try to wear a swimming suit and go in front of a dog. Does the dog not recognize you as that you are the owner? Absolutely, it will recognize. Let's say you don't wear swimming suit. You go with shorts. You will go with the different dresses, but still the dog could identify that you are the owner. You are my real master. The dog can recognize. If dog can recognize, are we lower than the dog? Then we cannot recognize who is supreme personality of God. It makes no sense, right? Like for example, from India, like in Hindi they say Surya, but people from Western country they say sun. The name is different, but the source is the same. So it is very important to understand that today in this session, Prabhupada is giving an explanation about how that the Lord expansion is the form of Guna avatar, right? So that is how it says, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwar. But end of the day, it is very important to understand that Krishna is just not any kind of a demigod. He is a supreme personality of God. And we can see how Prabhupada appreciated the small child when he was being asked who is Krishna. And she told, Krishna is the supreme personality of God. This is very important. And I'm very happy that I got this opportunity today to speak on this topic. So I can go on with many colorful points. Like I would like to say that there are three modes, controllers of three different modes. Like Vishnu is the controller of the modes of goodness, and I would say Brahma is the controller of mode of passion, and Lord Shiva is the controller of mode of ignorance. So these three are the guna avatars. But here it has been now, what was that? It was described in the previous chapter. Can somebody remember what we discussed in the previous chapter? We were talking about the Chaturslokis, all right? So I will not go deep into that previous session, but I would like to focus on today's main topic, that today Prabhupada is making us to explain that how that there are three divisions, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. In that, Lord Krishna is a supreme personality of God. So that's the one explanation I will like to share in today's session. And since today's topic is a little bit philosophical, I want to make it very simplified way, so that we can able to understand this topic. So sometimes it happens, you see, if you go to a prison house in America, often we hear there was a big fight between the prisoners and the prison keepers and the police. Sometimes they beat up the police and take over the prison. So what that happens? Then what happens? We can see that time the king is involved in that. The king sends a special force to take care of those criminals. So similarly, the Lord comes to the material nature to take care of this revolting business. So basically, Lord doesn't directly get involved in the what do you say, in the like for example, something happened wrong to us. Let's say why is Maya is always troubling me? Krishna is not actually playing that role. Krishna has allocated seva to Maya Devi, and she does the role of that. Most of the time, we directly judge that why Krishna has so much of why does he give so much of trouble to us? Actually, he is not at all interfering, in this material aspect, because that seva is taken care by Durga, Maya Devi, right? So that thing we can understand. So one thing I would like to share in today's session, because there's a beautiful word from Bhagavad Gita. It says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurtaraha. It says, Tatra Sthir Vijayo, Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjun, 100% there is success. So we don't have to worry about it. And since I was today morning, I got a call from Priya Govind Prabhu. You were saying that Prabhuji, today we are having a Ratha Yatra, So Lord Jagannath is the Lord of universe, right? And he's so merciful, is so merciful. That's why his eyes is so big. It indicates that he's so merciful that he always seeing who all are very active, who all are doing what services. So Prabhupada often says, Prabhupada spiritual master often says that we should not always try to see Krishna, but we should try to serve Krishna in such a way that Krishna wants to see us. So Ratha Yatra is one of the best aspects where we can do a mass preaching, right? Generally, we see, people come to temple, but on Ratha Yatra day, Lord Himself, He leaves His altar and He goes outside to give darshan to the devotees. So that's very, very wonderful. And the one thing I like to share, which often I say that there's one verse from Bengali. It says, "Suchi hai muche yati tyaje, suchi hai muche yadi Krishna tyaje, muchi hai suchi yadi Krishna bhaje." So if somebody is born from a very high, aristocratic family, Brahmana's family, but if the tongue is not chanting Krishna's name, then is lower than a Shudra, right? And somebody who's born from a very low, degraded, like I would say Chandala family, maybe Shudra family. But if he's chanting Krishna's name, then he is very, very glorious. That's why often I say that the first step in bhakti is the Shravanam, right? So often I said it's to Krishna, he enters through ear, and Maya enters through eyes, right? So the more we have Shravanam, the more we have Shravanam, then the more we are able to appreciate the glories of the holy name. That is why the first step in bhakti is Shravanam, and it is possible. It is possible because Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So once we have good Shravanam hearing, if you see even Prabhupada's life also, Prabhupada's spiritual master to say that Prabhupada has a good hearing, he loves to hear. Because he said he loves to hear, in future he will go and run this movement. And that is why a person who's a very good speaker should also be a very good listener. A person not a good listener, he cannot become a good speaker. So it's very important that we have to become a very good listener, like Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was such a wonderful personality that always used to hear what the Guru is saying. And that is why in the future we can see how Prabhupada, one man from the great land of India, and at the age of 70, he crossed across the whole all over the world. In just 11 years, 14 times he traveled across the globe and he built more than 108 temples. And he is the founder Acharya, right? So we can see Prabhupada really made impossible into possible. He made a real revolution. But generally, we can see in today's situation, we all want to something like Prabhupada, like a revolution. But the problem is, mind keeps on disturbing because mind says, I want this, I want this. Because mind keeps on, it's like very always chanchala, they say. If you see, there's a verse in Bhagavad Gita where Arjuna is saying to Krishna, Chanchalami mana Krishna pramadi bhalavadridam. Tasyam nigramanya vayudeva dushudam. He says, I can control the wind, but not the mind, because mind is very chanchala, very, very flickering, but Prabhupada tells that there are three ways how we can control the mind, One is we have to always engage in devotional service. Second thing is we should follow Guru's instruction. And third is to do good to others. And Prabhupada says one of the easiest way to control mind is just neglect, just neglect. But it's not so easy to neglect because mind is disturbed. Mind keeps on, boggling with that, what not to be remembered. So the best way is Krishna enters through ears. So when we chant, actually there was one devotee who asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada ji, you tell me one thing, how far is Golak Vrindavan? And Prabhupada replied so beautifully actually. When I heard this, I was like, wow. Prabhupada says, this is your mouth, tongue, and this is your ear. So from your mouth to tongue, how far it is? So far. So far the difference to go to Golak Vrindavan. What are you saying, Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, when you chant the Lord's name from your mouth, and then you hear with a lot of attention, with a lot of rapt attentive. That's why Prabhupada Guru Maharaj says attentive chanting. Because if you hear once one lady asked Paramahansa Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Maharaj, I'm chanting more rounds through mind, not through beats. The Prabhupada Guru Maharaj was very happy. He said, wow, you're chanting. How are you chanting? I'm chanting through mind. Oh, really? You're chanting through mind? Okay. So from tomorrow onwards, you don't have your breakfast, don't have your lunch, don't have your dinner. You have everything through mind. Can you have it? Oh, that is not possible, bro. That's not possible, Maharaj, because I have to eat physically. So the same way, when you chant physically. Not that you say always I'll chant through mind, that is kind of an execution. That is why in Kali Yuga, very simple way to control the mind is mantra, that which freezes the mind, mantra. That is Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, yeah, it is important to know the philosophy because it's very important to know. If somebody asks you who is God and you say somebody else's name, then it shows how strongly connected. Once Prabhupada was asking, I'm very happy to see you're doing book distribution, but do you read books? He said, Prabhupada, I don't read books. I don't read books. I only distribute. So Guru Maharaj said, see, Prabhupada wrote books for the devotees to us to read and then to distribute. But then what we do, we just distribute, we don't read. That is why it is very important because when you read Prabhupada books, then what happens? Our philosophically we become very strong. So whenever we get opportunity, we can explain them very nicely. Because you see, Prabhupada, he only slept for 2 hours, every day, just because to sacrifice for us. So we have to be very grateful to Prabhupada for all the good things he's done for us. So to say thank you to Prabhupada, one of the best ways to do book distribution. That's why you see in Prabhupada always says, if you want to please me, distribute my books. Distribute my books. And one of the best way in Kali Yuga is to just perform Nam Sankirtan. Because in Kali Yuga, Kalir Doshe Nide Rajan, Asti Heko Mahan Gunan, Kirtan Eva Krishnasya Mukta Sangha Param Rajit. Generally, we find faults, you did this, you did this, you did this. But if you actually contemplate yourself, we have a lot of, faults within us. So, but one good thing about Kali Yuga, even they have so many faults, is that chanting the holy name of the Lord. That's why we have to be very, very grateful that Krishna is so kind, that we've got Prabhupada, we've got such a wonderful spiritual master, who always glorious, if you think, our spiritual master, Paramahansa Gopal Krishna Maharaj, till his last breath, was always very active, So he always want to do what Prabhupada wanted, If you see, there's one meaning of bhakti. It says, Anya Bilasa Shunyam Gnana Karmand Anabhutam. Should always do what Krishna likes, not what we like. So our Guru Maharaj always do what Prabhupada likes, and that is why today we can see the whole world, that people are doing book distribution only because they want to show their love to their spiritual master, So we're very fortunate. And this sloka, what we discussed today, is really a very important sloka. And I'd like to share more points about today's verse because this has a deeper understanding, So I will try to go ahead. So before I go further, does anybody has any questions? Or can I go ahead?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Mother.
Just one clarification. You said mantra. Man means the mind, and tra means what? Sorry, you were a little.
Man means mind, tra means that which freezes, that delivers the mind.
Freeze the mind.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Prabhupada said there are 3 ways you can control your mind. Prabhuji, can you please repeat those 3 things? Because according to the Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 things that you can use to control the mind. It's vairagya and practice, detachment and practice.
Yes.
But what are the 3 things that Srila Prabhupada said?
First thing is that we should always be engaged in devotional service.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, what is being in devotional service? Second thing is that follow the Guru's instruction.
And third, Prabhuji?
Third thing is do good to others. Like one of the meaning of founder Acharya is doing good to others and also delivering them. Like we see in today's situation, people do good to others, but they don't deliver them, you know. So Prabhupada, see, by reading Bhagavad Gita, we also get a lot of values, right? And that is the one reason why, whenever we have book distribution, we go to schools, we tell them we have a value education contest, and we talk about so many values, and they really feel, wow, we thought this book has only talking about a religious aspect, but no, this book has so many things to know. So that's why, Prabhupada actually says, that if you want to please me, distribute my books. And we are so fortunate, that we have got all such a wonderful books, actually.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for the clarification.
So I was asking you that should I go ahead or should I, because I'm in a different flow, does somebody have any questions or should I go ahead?
Go ahead, Prabhuji. There are no more questions.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, fine. So one thing I like to share today that as I was telling you, Prabhupada just because for our sake, he sacrificed his sleep. So we should be always very grateful. That was a Nityam Bhagavata Seya. And Prabhupada made such a simple process how we have to wake up in the morning, and do our japa, and we have Darshanarati. Even such a system which is applicable all over the world, right? And one thing I would like to say that our senses, they are not pure; they are contaminated. That's why there's a verse that says, "Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tat paripina nirmalam rishikara sikesha sivanam bhaktir uchete." So unless and until we engage our mind and senses in the Lord's service, it is not possible. So when we engage our mind, when we engage our tongue by taking prasadam, by chanting Lord's holy name, and when we engage our senses in the Lord's service, then what happens? They become very pure. And in that state, when we do bhakti, then it has a real taste. It has a real taste. So this is also very, very important, because right now we are not 100%, ripened mango. We are like, it's like not ripened. But as long as the mango is connected to the tree, one day it become ripe. But the moment you pluck the mango from the tree, then it will not be ripe. It will become raw and also it may get decayed. This is also a very, very important thing. So if you see in today's verse, this one point I would like to highlight how Prabhupada is giving a very clear understanding that who is Brahma, who is Vishnu, who is Shiva, and also he's telling us how they are all, Lord's expansion, guna avatars, and then he also spoke about how mode of passion is Brahmaji, mode of goodness it's Vishnu, and mode of ignorance is Lord Shiva. So these things also Prabhupada explained. So one thing I'd like to say that I was telling you that if you want to go to Golok Vrindavan, how far it is? It's just so far, right? But for that we have to, chant the Lord's name and we have to hear attentively. Or else what happens when you want to travel somewhere, you have to buy a ticket. Without ticket, you cannot travel. If you want to go to any other country, you have to have a passport. That passport, you cannot travel. So similarly, in this age of Kali Yuga, the only way where you can actually, bypass this is only by chanting the Lord's holy name. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is Krishna himself, he's Krishna himself, and he's so merciful that, he made things very easy because we don't have to we don't have to study all the 18 Puranas, we just have to chant the basic. That's why I would say the summum bonum of all the Vedic literature. Like we see in Bhagavad Gita, we have 700 verses, whereas in Bhagavatam we have more than 18,000 verses. And the last verse uh, it says Nama Sankirtasya Pranashanam. Pranamantu Kushamanastam Namami Namami Ham. Matlab Nama Sankirtanya. Matlab the holy name is the only way where we can actually get rid of this bondage of material suffering. So the only way is to chant the Lord's holy name. And I would say one of the best way to do is Ratha Yatra, because Ratha Yatra, what happens? You can gather everybody. It is a festival actually. It's a complete festival actually. So we can see in Ratha Yatra, everybody comes and everybody loves, because everybody are getting some prasadam actually. So it is very nice to see that devotees are so happy that they're coming here and they're taking part, and it is very colorful actually. So that way I would say that this Ratha Yatra also is promoting uh, Harinam Sankirtan, because without Harinam Sankirtan, it is very, very difficult to, go ahead. I'll tell you one nice story. This is also from Puranas, how holy name can make a huge difference. Like I'm sure you have heard about Janak Maharaj, is one of the 12 Mahajans. So when Janak Maharaj, when he was going back to the spiritual world, on the way, he saw one glance of hell, which is called as Raura, right? And in that hell, people were like screaming, shouting, a lot of pain. And because Janak Maharaj is a Mahajan, he saw from where this noise is coming. So he stood for a while, and then that moment, with the law of providence, there was a huge wind, breezes, and that touched the body of Janak Maharaj, and that went towards that hell. And immediately there was pin drop silence in the hell. No noise, and everybody were very peaceful and happy. And then Emeraj came to know that how come, in this hell, people not screaming, they're not at all, suffering. What went wrong? Immediately he comes and see what's happening. Then he saw that there was Janak Maharaj was standing there. And he said, Janak Maharaj, please leave this place, because where you're standing is near to the hell. And these people are like sinful people. They break all four regulative principles. They don't even know who is Krishna, who is God. Their life was just, eat, enjoy, and marry. That's it. Nothing else. They had no goal in life, and they used to always break the rules and regulations. So please leave this place. But you see, when the Mahajan, they're always very compassionate. So when he heard the noise of people screaming, he became very compassionate. So he said, Yamraj, I really want to deliver these people. But the irony is that even Yamraj also was a great Vaishnava, because he's also one of the Mahajan. So seeing the mind of Janak Maharaj, so Yamraj said, Janak Maharaj, we can do one thing. See, in your whole life, you chanted the Lord's name. So if we can give a credit of one name to these people, then I'm sure there may be some possibility. Oh, really? Then Janak Maharaj uttered just one word. He just said, Jai Shri, not even Ram. He just said Ra, he said, before completing the Ram, there were thousands of Pushpaka Vimanas. There was man's, what do you say? They were like beautiful, what do you say? Uh, Pushpaka Vimana, like they are like aeroplanes coming from the spiritual sky, and all these people who were screaming, shouting, they all sat in that mansion, and they all went back to spiritual world just because he gave one credit of the name. So the name has so much power, but still we don't take it so seriously. That is why Lord's name is very, very, very powerful. Sometimes we say that Prabhuji, I've been chanting the holy name from so many years, but still I have no taste. What do I do? Actually, I would generally tell them, if somebody has a jaundice, it's kind of a disease actually. So you give them a sugarcane juice. They say it's bitter, it's not so sweet. But if you keep on drinking, then what happens? That bitter will become a one day sweet. They will wonder how come it is so sweet. Yeah, it is sweet, because we had that disease. We thought sugarcane is bitter. Similarly, when you keep on chanting the Lord's holy name, one day we will feel the taste of that. and you say, wow, this name has like so much of taste, so that will come gradually. So we should always try this by quantity, not by quality. When you do from quantity, automatically the quality also will come. Because in this world, we have two types of people. One is a conditioned soul, one is a liberated soul. So for conditioned soul, the goal is to, just eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But Krishna wanted to say the goal of human life should be surrender. Sarva dharma parityaja mam ekam sharanam raja. Aham tvam sarva papibhyo mokshayami ma suchaha. That's why I keep on telling, that Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vinda. We have to always chant the name with a lot of attention. So chant with the attention, hear with the absorption, deal with the affection, and serve with devotion. Then that makes a great impact. I would once again repeat, chant with attention, hear with absorption, deal with affection, and serve with the devotion. Because in bhakti there is no shortcut. We have to do the sadhana, because there are two types of two levels. One is uh, Raganaga Bhakti, one is Vaidika Bhakti. Raganaga Bhakti is spontaneous love to Krishna, which we don't have. That's why we're conditioned souls. But we can do Vaidika Bhakti, that is through sadhana, rules and regulations, but no shortcuts. I'll give you one example, maybe a story which you would love to hear, and it explains what happens when you do shortcut. Let's say one person, he just got a new job, and he's into a new car, and he has everything with him. He just got married, and he's just got his first salary, and now he's going back to home. Let's say half the way, because of there's a huge storm, rain, he his path got deviated. Instead of going home, he entered a jungle. Now, is this person happy? No. He has everything with him, but still is not happy. Why? Because the path has got deviated. So generally, we say, Mamai Vamsham Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Because we're getting baffled by this material nature, we also got deviated. But how to connect back? Like we could say, Sambandha Abhijaya Provision, we say, right? Unless and until we don't develop the relationship with the God, it is very, very difficult. So here I would like to say one small story. So this person who wants to go back home, but the path got deviated because of heavy rain, storm, it's late night. So he remembered, does God exist? If is there, please help me, God. He was just praying like that. And luckily for his good fortune, he saw one kind of a sadhu was sitting in a, what do you say, kutir, hut, and he was just chanting the Lord's name. So he approached this sadhu Baba. He said, Sadhu, can you please help me? He said, how can I help you? See, I have everything with me, but I'm still disappointed. I'm distressed. I'm frustrated because, I'm supposed to go home, but my path got deviated. So can you please help me? I want to go back home. And the sadhu said, my dear child, you see, it's late night. It's raining. It's dark. Why don't you stay back and go tomorrow? But the boy was very stubborn. He said, I want to go today. Please do something. And the sadhu said, see, there's one way we can go. I have a horse. You can sit in the horse, but there's one mantra you have to memorize it. There are two mantras. One mantra is thank God. One mantra is save me. If you say thank God, the horse starts running. And if you say save me, the horse stops. But still, the sadhu said to this person, it is a risk for you. Even if you memorize the mantra, it is a risk. Better you stay back, you go through the mantra. Morning, when it's bright sunlight, you can go. But he was so stubborn. He said, no, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. Then Sadhu said, okay, as you desire. So he said, see, I know the mantra. The first mantra is, if I say thank God, the horse starts going. And if it tells save me, the horse stops. So I know the mantra, he was very happy, and then he sat in the horse. And then he said, thank God. And to his great, surprise, horse was start moving. He became so excited. Wow, I'm going to reach home today soon. So thank God, he said. And the horse was like very loyal to this person, was increasing the speed. He says, thank God, thank God. The horse was going super fast. And you know what happened? There was a cliff, mountain, and then he wants the horse to now to reduce the speed, but he forgot the other mantra. He said, thank God, thank God. And even the horse also very loyally is going super fast. And you know what? There's a cliff, there's a mountain. After that, there's completely narrow. He may die also. But he forgot another mantra. He's crying. He's saying, thank God, he's saying. And even the horse also very loyal, is increasing the speed. Now almost he went towards the mountain. He's supposed to just jump. Somewhat luckily, he remembered the other mantra. He said, save me, he said. And the horse also was very loyal. He just stopped exactly near the edge of the mountain, cliff. And then as it stopped now, this guy was so happy. He took a long breath and he said, thank God, he said. Guess what happened? Yes, this will happen. So generally, if we do something in shortcut, it's very, very difficult. That is why we should always learn the art how to meditate on the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, because generally people, when they read Bhagavatam, they want to directly go for 10th canto, because they want to know about Rasa Leela, all these things. But Prabhupada never recommended that. Prabhupada says, first lotus feet, then your thighs, then your hips, chest, then the face, so it's like an order. That's why I would say, because you had mentioned me about the mind control, so I'll give you one formula. Prabhupada says it's a peace formula. If you want to control the mind, you should know this formula. It's called peace formula. What is that? This is from Bhagavad Gita. It says, Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Suhurtam Sarva Bhutana Gnatva Mam Shanti Rachate. So Bhoktaram Yajnatapasam. That means that Krishna, you are the real enjoyer. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Krishna, you are the real proprietor. You are the real owner. You are the real maintainer. You are the Swami, right? You are everything. Like if you go to Jagannath Puri, people say Jagannath, Jagat ka Nath, Jagannath, they say, So he is the Lord of the universe, right? So you should know that Krishna is the enjoyer. I'm not the enjoyer, I'm just a servant, and you are the real owner. And last is Suhurtam Sarva Bhutana. If you see Prabhupada also, when he writes a letter, he says, your well-wisher. So Krishna is our well-wisher. He is our true friend, So if these three things we understand, Krishna is the enjoyer, Krishna is the real owner, Krishna is a true well-wisher friend, then Gnatva Ma Shanti Rachate. So in that stage, we can do bhakti very peacefully, and then we'll get a very best result, very best result. So this is also very, very important to understand. And how, in fact, if you see, generally Prabhupada, I don't know, I heard this from some devotees. Prabhupada said to Lord Krishna, I don't want to go to this material world, because I love to be with you. Prabhupada, Krishna said, Prabhupada, you have to go, because people are like, they're all Baddha Jivas, conditional soul. You have to deliver them. You just do one thing, you just write books, and the remaining thing I will take care. You just go and write books. And that's why if you see the aesthetic of Prabhupada, you'll find in the books. Actually, when Prabhupada went to London, one of the person asked, Prabhupada, why did you came to London? What's so special? Prabhupada said, see, you British people, you came to India, you looted all the wealth, everything you looted. But one thing you forgot to loot, one thing you forgot to steal, rob. And I have come to give you home delivery. What is that? And that is Bhagavad Gita. So that's really amazing, actually. Prabhupada is so amazing, actually. That's why, and it also said that, in ISKCON, every 33 seconds, 30 seconds, one book has been distributed. In the last 55 years, more than 50 crore books, 50 crore Bhagavad Gitas have been distributed, and now that one Bhagavad Gita is available in more than 89 languages, right? So this is really amazing, actually. So we are very fortunate that Prabhupada, made it so easy and so crispy, so sanguine to understand this philosophy that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and the best way to do bhakti in the age of Kali Yuga is chant the Lord's holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Like, I like to give you an example of, like, since I am from a computer background, just like when I turn on the computer, the operating system starts functioning. The OS, let's say if the OS is corrupted, the computer will never open, it will not function. Similarly, our consciousness of every Jivatma is like an operating system, right? So the morning, the time we wake up in the morning till the end, we keep on having so many desires, sometimes selfish desires, sometimes, we get into this lust, anger, greed, so many things. So we have been affected by the virus, and the best antivirus for this is Bhagavad Gita. So we can see, that Krishna is so kind. I remember that past time in, I think it was in Sri Rangam, I believe. There was one monk who was holding Bhagavad Gita ups and down, actually. And he was not even knowing to read Bhagavad Gita, and there was a tears gliding from his eyes. He was like crying. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, yes, why are you crying? Is it because you don't know to read Bhagavad Gita? He said, no, not because of that. But I could see that on the first page of Bhagavad Gita, on the book print, I see Krishna, who is the supreme person of the Lord, he has become a driver. So become a driver to the, to the Arjun, I cannot bear that, because the supreme person of Godhead, but still we can see here how Krishna took a very humble role, so seeing that, my tears is bursting with tears, and Mahaprabhu embraced it. He said, "You know the whole Bhagavad Gita, actually." I don't know how many of you been to. There's a place called Tirupati in India. There's a place called Tirupati. It's a holy place, actually. Where they worship Lord Balaji there, actually. So I heard one very wonderful pastime, which really inspired me very much. There, what happened just few years back, they were doing book distribution, and this happened in the temple hall. In the temple, they have some book stalls, and they were like distributing books. Suddenly, one person entered the temple, and he started screaming on everybody, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita. He was screaming Bhagavad Gita, and people are shocked. What happened to this guy? He's like super enthusiasm. He says, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita, is screaming, I want Bhagavad Gita. So the devotees there, they gave him Bhagavad Gita. They asked him, why are you behaving so crazy? Why are you like this? Why are you so much screaming? The person replied, if I tell you, you will not believe it, but I'll tell you, I was a dead person. What? You're a dead person? What are you saying? I said, yeah, I was dead some time back. I was been taken to the hell. And there, the Yamadutas were telling me that, when they took me out, the Emraj, the Chitragupt, they said that you brought the wrong person. So bring the right person. And when they're bringing back, then they told me, see, if you don't want to take our darshan, if you don't want to see us again, then go to nearest temple and just pick up Bhagavad Gita and read it, And when you heard that, they were holding they're holding him and they're saying Ram Ram Satya Hai. Matlab, he is dead now. So immediately he just started jumping from that place, and people got scared. Oh, he's now a devil, And then he got into the temple. He was having a garland. There was a kind of a red tilak on his forehead. He's screaming Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad Gita. Then he told us that even Yamadutas also know about Bhagavad Gita. I mean to say, we are so fortunate, that Prabhupada is so glorious, that he bought this in our life. And we are very fortunate that, that we have got Bhagavad Gita. And I was just sharing recently, there was one lady whom I met while doing book distribution in the traffic jam. And she was like, what do you say, atheism? No, she was doing a PhD that there's no God. All right. And somewhat, I was very fortunate to, because there was a traffic signal, so I just told, take a copy of Bhagavad Gita. She read Bhagavad Gita, maybe one or two chapters, and then she gave me a phone call. She said, you know what, actually, I was an atheist. I was doing PhD, So one way of PhD is permanent head damage, She was doing this PhD in atheism, that God doesn't exist. But when I read Bhagavad Gita, I came to a conclusion that God exists, And then what I did is I took the thesis of that my studies, and I took the lighter. I just burnt them into ashes, and now I'm reading the whole Bhagavad Gita. Now I'm becoming a devotee. Now I'm chanting 16 rounds. I was like, wow, I just gave a copy of Bhagavad Gita, but the book made a magic. So the magic of miracles does work even now also. That's what it says, Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. If you read Bhagavad Gita, there's a beautiful verse. It says, Ananyas Chinto Yento Mam Ejna Paripashate Tesham Nitya Viktanam Yoga Kshema Vahamyam. Krishna says, if somebody sincerely practice bhakti, what they lack, I will give them in abundance. What they lack. For example, let's say I want to become a good harmonium player, but I'm not a good singer. But I'm asking Krishna, make me a good singer. Because you're asking me, I'll give you in abundance. You'll be one of the best singer. You can always glorify me. Krishna says, Yoga Kshema Vahamiyam. So really, Krishna has assured everything for us. We just have to put one step. That's it. Just put one step, and Krishna will put a 10 step. So this is very, very amazing actually. Because if you see in today's situation, the one of the main challenge is that people are not exactly doing bhakti. They're doing bhakti, but they are not being properly guided actually. That is why it is our responsibility to preach, this Krishna consciousness. If you just water the root, then the whole branch, the twig, the leaves are nourished. If you just supply the stomach, your whole body is nourished. But instead of that, if you just water the leaves, if you just water the twigs, then no nourishment. So if we worship Lord Sri Krishna, then even all the other demigods, they become very, very happy. So Esmin tuste Jagat tustam, right? So if we can please Krishna, then we can please everybody. So we've got a very simple formula. So for us, it's a very, because being born in India, they say na Bharata Bhumi hoile Manusha Janma Yara Janma Sartakare Parapakara. It is very easy for us, but devotees like you who are attending the Zoom class, from foreign land, so Krishna will be very happy to see you all, chanting the Lord's holy name, being with the Sangha, I would say association means three things. One is there should be a spiritual discussion, there should be a knowledge transmission, and there should be a heart transformation. Association means three things. There should be a spiritual discussion, there should be a knowledge transmission, and there should be a heart transformation. And I say this happens because that is the glory of bhakti, right? So I could see that this happens actually, so chanting the holy name, being together, and especially coming up with the festivals like Ratha Yatra, Janmashtami. So all these things really, makes, actually, I would say these are the mother of devotional service, And yeah, one thing I would like to share and wind up today's class. Guru Maharaj always says, that enthusiasm comes not by just showing the books, not by just doing things, but it comes when to devotees, Guru Maharaj often says, enthusiasm comes not by displaying the books, it comes with the devotees, So due to the enthusiasm of devotees, the books will go actually. So only if you're enthusiastic, for example, if I say for you Hare Krishna, you will say Hare Krishna. If I say Hare Krishna, say Hare Krishna. That means I am enthusiastic. Then you'll also become very enthusiastic. That is why I like to. So one last thing I like to share and wind. Maybe if you all can hear, you can also repeat after me. It's very beautiful. It is like this: look behind, thank Krishna. Look ahead, trust Krishna. Look around, serve Krishna. Look within, find Krishna. I'll elaborate this. Look behind, thank Krishna. You can always thank Mother Kunti. So always, whenever she used to have obstacles, she always remember Krishna. So look behind, thank Krishna. Look ahead, trust Krishna. That is Prahlad. So Prahlad was thrown in different places, but still, he had a full faith that Nrsimhadev will protect me. So he was protected. Look behind, thank Krishna. Look ahead, trust Krishna. Look around, serve Krishna. That is Srila Prabhupada. Wherever he went, he made it Vrindavan. By giving the Krishna consciousness. And finally, look within, find Krishna. That is Dhruva Maharaj. So Dhruva Maharaj for 6 months, he was like doing tapasya, and finally he got darshan of Lord Krishna. So that way, I would say that I thank all of you for giving this opportunity, because I really have no qualification to speak on this topic. I was just been told, just this morning, I just prepared whatever I could do in the short period. But I'm very happy, that I see that you people have so much of enthusiasm to serve, and so that really gives me a lot of one thing I like to share. I just 2 days back I was giving a class, so I was talking to the students. I was telling them, you all should read Bhagavad Gita. And some people said, Prabhuji, we will read Bhagavad Gita, but we also have some kind of habits which we have difficulty to break. So I said, what kind of habits do you have? Somebody said smoking. I said, don't worry about that. Then I told him one story. I told him, people who smoke, they get 3 benefits. I said, what are you saying? Yeah. I said, then please tell me what are the benefits. I said, the first benefit is people who over smoke, they never become old. Wow, that's a good one. The second benefit of people who smoke, the thief would never enter your house. So that is incredible. What's the benefit? I said, people who smoke, the dog would never bark. They're very happy. They said, first time I see somebody, a monk, is glorifying about this smoking. Then I told, take a break. Listen what I'm saying. I said, what are the first benefit? The people who smoke, they never become old. Why they never become old? Because they die young. Right? And the second thing is that I told you, people who smoke, even the thief would not come to your house. Yeah, they will not come to your house. Why? Because you are smoking the whole day. Even the robber comes to your house, he thinks maybe somebody is at home. So he will go to the next house, so he will not come. And the last benefit is that because you've been coughing all the time, the robber doesn't come to your house, But because you are coughing all the time, your liver, your lungs is getting damaged, and you cannot walk. And for that, you have to hold a stick. So when you have a stick in your hand, no dog would come close to you, right? So then he understood, sir, what you said was, I thought it was benefit, but I see that it's like very important to know. And then he said, yeah, I accept what you said, and I will try working on that. I said, wow, that's good. So read Bhagavad Gita, you get a solution for all your questions. So I thank you for giving this opportunity, and I don't know what I spoke, because I extended the timing also. But main thing I like to highlight today's topic, that Prabhupada and Prabhupada's disciples are really genius, And today I'm here because of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, because he loves devotees, because I see that everybody loves him so much. And today people are all doing wonderful services because he has a bonding that is through his love. He loves everyone, and because of his love, people are all working together. And I could see, that every year, the books have been expanding, because our Guru Maharaj always takes this initiative to exactly what Prabhupada did. He's a Prabhupada man, actually, So that way, I'm very grateful that you all gave me an opportunity to speak, and I just made a small attempt, trying to just tell you a little bit philosophical point that how Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karanaka, is the cause of all causes. And I spoke about the Guna avatars. Then I spoke about how maintenance is the most important aspect, then creation and demolition. And so just like we say now, from milk we can produce curd, but curd you cannot produce milk, right? So like that, all this Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, they're all guna avatars. But end of the day, Vishnu, Krishna, he is the real maintenance. So Esmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam. If we can please Krishna, we can please everybody. Or else, it's like Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. It's like we are in the same cycle, birth, death, old diseases. So the simple solution, what my Guru Maharaj always used to say, is to chant the holy name attentively and read Srila Prabhupada books, and then in this same life, you'll go back to Godhead. So our philosophy is very easy, not so complicated, just read Srila Prabhupada books, chant the holy name, and the festivals are like mother of devotional service. And one of the best festival is Ratha Yatra. Bolo Jagannath Swami ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was an excellent class today, and you really made us laugh with lots of jokes, and you made the philosophy so easy. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. I'm sorry we don't have much time, but we are really, really grateful to you, and we hope you can continue with us regularly. We meet every day, the same time, same link, and I think Monday and Fridays I allocated to devotees from your Sangha. And please come again, and we really thank you for it. I will not make it long, but I'm sorry about the attendance, but but they'll catch up. They usually see it. So we'll send you the link as well of the recording. So with that, I can kindly ask everybody to unmute, and let's chant the Maha Mantra once to glorify Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayavach Panam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. His Grace Mahatma Priya Das Prabhuji ki Jai.
It will be very inspiring if you all can turn on the cameras. And since because it's now late night, so I'll just tell you one line. It is saying, "Early to bed, early to rise, can make you see Krishna before your eyes." So now I'll go to bed and sleep, and morning I'll do Mangala. Okay. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
It is midnight there, so thank you very much, Prabhuji, for giving your time. Hare Krishna. Please go.
Thank you for a wonderful class.
Thank you for a wonderful class.